Good evening, live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman Television. Here we present to you tonight's news bulletin. First, the headlines. His Excellency, the Deputy Prime Minister of Singapore, conveys the greetings of the Singaporean leadership to His Majesty the Sultan when he was received by His Highness Sayyid Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Saeed. A number of wilayas in the Governorate of Dhofar and Al-Wusta witness rainfalls as the tropical condition downgrades to a low trough. And the Omani-Saudi Economic Forum reveals that the volume of commercial exchange between the Sultanate and Saudi Arabia exceeds $2.2 billion. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Highness Sayyid Fahad bin Mahmoud Al Saeed, Deputy Prime Minister for the Council of Ministers, received today His Excellency Teo Chee Hean, Deputy Prime Minister and National Security Coordinator of the Republic of Singapore, where he conveyed the greetings of the Republic President and the Prime Minister of Singapore to His Majesty Sultan Qaboos and their good wishes to His Majesty and his government more success, and to the Omani people further progress and prosperity. His Highness Sayyid Fahad welcomed the guest and his accompanying delegation, praising the growing relations between the two friendly countries and the remarkable development witnessed by the two countries to serve the joint interest. The meeting reviewed the aspects of cooperation in economic, commercial and industrial fields, activating the agreement signed between the Sultanate and Singapore, encouraging the private sector to invest in joint investments in addition to support the fields of training and exchange of experiences, as well as to review the current situation on the regional and international arenas. The guest and his accompanying delegation expressed their happiness on the visit and what they have witnessed of achievements that reflected the fruits of the Omani Renaissance witnessed by the country. He also praised the balanced policy adopted by the Sultanate and its continuous efforts to enhance security and stability in the region and the world, which earned it the respect and appreciation of all. His Highness the Deputy Prime Minister for the Council of Ministers asked the guest to convey the greetings of His Majesty the Sultan and his best wishes to the President of Singapore and the Prime Minister of Singapore of continued success and the people of Singapore more progress and prosperity. The meeting was attended by His Excellency Sayyid Badr bin Hamad bin Hamoud Al Busaidi, Secretary General of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, His Excellency Sheikh Al Fadl bin Mohammed Al Harthi, Secretary General of the Council of Ministers, and Ting Thing Dar, Ambassador of Singapore to the Sultanate of Oman. His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed Al No'mani, Minister of Royal Office, paid a field visit to the Land Forces Command participating in Al Shimukh 2 and Swift Sword 3 exercises. He visited also the command of Infantry Brigade 11 and Royal Guard of Oman Regiment within the Land Forces. He was received by Major General Matar bin Salim Al Balushi, Commander of the Royal Army of Oman. He got acquainted with military capabilities and mechanisms of field deployment. He was also briefed on the plans, tasks and duties of the land forces, as well as the preparations for the upcoming period. During the visit, he also observed the modern military equipment of Royal Guard of Oman, which reflected the development witnessed by the Sultan's armed forces in the prosperous era of His Majesty the Sultan, Supreme Commander of the Armed Forces. Royal Court, the Public Authority for Consumer Protection and the Omani Charitable Organization took part with the other civil and military institutions in a Shimukh 2 and Swift Sword 3 training exercises. The Royal Court provided the necessary logistic and manpower support to other participating civil and military institutions. The Public Authority for Consumer Protection took preventative measures to protect the welfare of consumers and the interest of product and services provided providers by organizing awareness and inspection campaigns in local markets and by complaints, and take the appropriate actions in order to stabilize the markets. Oman Charitable Organization provided swift relief support to individuals affected in accident, fire or crisis, and worked with other institutions to ensure the delivery of relief of affected areas. It's worth mentioning that the organization can act as Red Crescent to manage refuge camps in the event of war. The latest weather charts and the analysis of the National Multi-Hazard and Early Warning Centers show that the center of the tropical system has crossed the Yemen's coast of Al-Mahra. Heavy rainfall, occasionally thunder showers, are likely to continue over the governorate of Dhofar, accompanied with fresh southeast winds with a surface speed of 37 to 46 kilometers per hour. The seas will be rough with a maximum wave height of 3.25 meters. The Public Authority for Civil Aviation calls on everyone to follow official weather bulletins, take utmost precautions not to risk crossing flowing wadis, move away from low-lying areas, and not to venture out to the sea. And for more updates, our reporter Saleh bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi is with us from the National Emergency Management Center to report on the latest developments of the tropical storm Luban. Mr. Saleh, what can you tell us? What information do you have for us from the National Emergency Management Center at this particular time?
Thank you, Abdullah. I'm at the center here, and as you can see behind me, we have representatives and specialists from different governmental and non-governmental organizations who are working side by side and around the clock actually to monitor and deal with the situation in Al-Wusta and Dhofar governorates. And to have more details and the latest updates, I have with me here Lieutenant Colonel Faisal bin Salim Al-Hajri, Director of the Executive Office of the National Committee for Civil Defense. Welcome, Lieutenant Colonel Faisal.
Thank you, Saleh. It's a pleasure to have you here. This is the National Emergency Management Center. As you correctly have mentioned, we have representatives from various organizations, sectors, and lead agencies. Today, throughout the last 3 days, we have been following and tracking all the preparedness efforts from the National Emergency Management Center, whether in Dhofar Governorate or in Al-Wusta Governorate. Today, we saw heavy rains, especially in Dhofar, the eastern and the western part of Dhofar. We had some, damages to some roads, which affected the flow of traffic, especially from Raysout to the western part of Dhofar, Rakhyut and Dhalkut. Telecommunication, there were minor telecommunications disruption, which was immediately restored, similar to electricity. Electricity too, we had a minor disruption that was fixed then and there. This is due, of course, to the preparedness efforts and the mobilization of resources that we have had allocated in these areas. The assets that we have mobilized included mobile generators, satellites, communication systems, and technical teams. This really helped us in restoring services very quickly.
Lieutenant Colonel, what about the situation in the schools and the evacuation centers in Al-Wusta and Dhofar governorates?
Today, the Ministry of Education announced that tomorrow all schools in Salalah and the eastern part of Dhofar will resume its operations, except for the western part of Dhofar, which is Rakhyut, Dhalkut, and Sarfet. An amount of seven schools that accommodate more than 600 persons who are using them as shelters for the time being, and we will these shelters will operate until tomorrow, so we can assess then the need for having them in operation.
Lieutenant Colonel, what about the tropical system or the tropical deep depression? When do you expect it to subside?
As per the meteorologists, we believe that we are going still to see and experience some heavy rains for the night tonight, and probably early morning tomorrow the storm will subside. Thus, we will be able to go to normal operations.
And what about when is it safe actually for the public to go out and enjoy the weather in these areas?
I'm glad you brought this up. Actually, one of the lessons learned from previous experiences that most of the casualties, unfortunately, and injuries we experience is recorded after a cyclone or after a storm. Usually here in Oman, due to the topography, the mountainous areas, we experience flash floods. People usually, risk and cross these wadis and go swim in pools, water pools in wadis, which causes drowning and death. That's why we always recommend and ask people to not underestimate the risks of wadis of water, even after a storm have subsidized.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel.
Thank you very much, Saleh.
So, Abdullah, that was Lieutenant Colonel Faisal bin Salim Al-Hajri, Director of the Executive Office at the National Committee for Civil Defense. And now it's over to you with the rest of the news at the studio.
Thank you very much, Saleh Al-Rahbi, together with Lieutenant Colonel Faisal Al-Hajri, for updating us. Of course, the Oman television will stay alert and giving you all the information once we receive them. Thank you. Measuring stations affiliated to the Public Authority for Civil Aviation recorded varied quantities of rains in the Governorate of the Far in the following wilayas: in Dalqut 89 millimeters, in Sadah 48 millimeters, in Marbat 16 millimeters, in Qairun Hayriji 13 millimeters, in Salala 11 millimeters, in Shlim and Halaniyat Islands 11 millimeters, and in Taqa 7 millimeters. The Directorate General of Education in the Governorate of the Far announced that study will be resumed in all schools of the Governorate starting from tomorrow, Monday, except for schools in the Wilaya of Rakhyut and Dalqut, along with Harwiyab and Al-Ahqaf schools affiliated to the Wilaya of Al-Mazuna. The decision came to ensure the safety of students teaching and administrative staff due to continuous rainfall and flowing wadis. The main schools in the wilayas of Rakhyut and Dalqut were allocated as shelter centers with starts classes from Tuesday. The resuming of study came based on information submitted by the National Multi-Hazard and Early Warning Center to the Crisis Management Committee in the Directorate General of Education in the Governorate of the Far, which reported that Tropical Storm Luban excited the main parts of the Governorate. Exited. Still to come in our news bulletin. The 24th Youth Literature Forum competition was held in the Wilaya of Ibri. Welcome back to the news from the Sultanate of Oman television. The volume of commercial exchanges between the Sultanate and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia increased to reach $2.2 billion. That was revealed by the Omani Saudi Economic Forum. The forum, which kicked off today, discusses the increasing investments between the two countries in various fields. A delegation from Saudi Arabia consisting of 30 businessmen participated in the forum, which will highlight the investments opportunities in the Sultanate. The delegation will pay a visit to Duqm to get acquainted with the trade opportunities there. The Omani side reviewed economic diversification plans in the Sultanate and business opportunities available at the private sector. The forum discussed the means of uplifting trade exchange between the two countries and the obstacles being faced by the two sides. The Omani side also focused on a number of sectors which attract investment, especially those related to industrial and free zones, logistics and petrochemical industries. On the sidelines of the Omani-Saudi Economic Forum, His Excellency Eid bin Mohammed al-Thaqafi, Saudi Arabia ambassador to the Sultanate, stated that the Saudi side is completing the works of the road project linking the two countries. The road goes through the empty quarters and will be opened soon. The Director General of Human Resources in the Ministry of Education organized a workshop on the foundation program for new schools supervisors. The workshop, which was held in the main training center in Muscat, aimed at promoting the understanding of school principals and supervisors of the public order principles and its connection to the analysis of legal issues. Aiming to spread geoscientific knowledge and promote the geological heritage of Oman among university students, the Geological Society of Oman held its annual competition, the Geo Challengers, in Al-Jabal Al-Akhdar. Our reporter Saleh bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi has more details in the following report.
Aiming to familiarize the geosciences and petroleum engineering students in the universities of Oman with the principles of mining, petroleum mapping, and modeling and development, the Geological Society of Oman held the 5th edition of the Geo Challengers competition in Al-Jabal Al-Akhdar.
The whole idea of this competition is to be able to deal with quite significant problems in scientific as well as in the workplace, whereby students from Sultan Qaboos University as well as the German University basically deal with a section of outcrops here, in this case in Jabal Akhdar, and they will need to assume here the presence of petroleum reservoir, and they need to develop these petroleum reservoirs with wells and manage their uncertainties and everything just within 3 days. So the competition is actually a high level. It assumes a lot of complexity, and they need to manage all these issues or uncertainties in a very short time frame.
Around 50 students from Sultan Qaboos University and the German University of Technology took part in the competition, conducting field trips in the heights of Al-Jabal Al-Akhdar to map and model the geological formations and structures, using basic tools to understand the fundamentals of geological simple modeling.
In this competition, we've taken 50 students from different universities and organizers from different companies, including BDO and other companies, and we've asked them to map or make a sedimentary description of the carbonate rocks standing here behind us, where they can see distinguishing fossils. And using these fossils and using other features, they could distinguish between sedimentary rocks and learn from each other to produce good results and good field development plan.
The participants conducted the mapping and modeling in 10 groups of 5 members, and they later presented their models and justified their assumptions and development options to a group of high professionals from the academic and industrial sector.
During this time, we were able to understand the geological layers of the Sultanate in Jabal Al-Akhdar. Also, we were able to understand the geological work that is implemented by the geologists and how it benefits us as petroleum engineers.
It is worth mentioning that the Geological Society of Oman holds this competition annually for students who are in their last 2 years of geology and geophysics academic programs, to introduce them to the importance of geology and geophysics in the oil and mining industries and improve their teamwork and communication skills. Geo Challenger is a wonderful opportunity for the participants to enrich their knowledge and explore the fascinating geology of Oman. From Al-Jabal Al-Akhdar, Saleh bin Khalfan Al-Rahbi, Al-Dakhiliya, Governorate.
The Minister of Heritage and Culture organized the 24th Youth Literature Forum competition, which took place in College of Applied Sciences in the Wilaya of Ibri. The event was accompanied by an art exhibition and theatrical performances. The three-day forum contained also a variety of literacy competitions in poetry and short stories. Only 39 out of 153 literary scripts managed to take part in this event. The 24th Youth Literature Forum competition is an annual event that attracts young writers and artists to present their talents before the audience. This is the Sultanate of Oman television, and before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Excellency, the Deputy Prime Minister of Singapore, conveys the greetings of the Singaporean leadership to His Majesty the Sultan when he was received by His Highness Sayyid Fahd bin Mahmoud Al Saeed. A number of wilayas in the Governorate of Dhofar and Al Wusta witness rainfalls as the tropical condition downgrades to a low trough. And the Omani-Saudi Economic Forum reveals that the volume of commercial exchange between the Sultanate and Saudi Arabia exceeds $2.2 billion. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. From the entire news team and myself, we thank you for joining us and good night.